embrace the pain, because grief is the other side of love.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Fishing Without Bait. We're continuing our conversation with Joanna Lowe, anchor, and dealing with deep, profound grief. So, Joanna, you're quite a wordsmith. You're a spoken word artist. Have you ever thought about giving a voice to those tears?
Yes. So, and I think you will appreciate this. The moment that I found out that he was gone, I had several things speak simultaneously in my head. And one of those things acknowledged that at some point I would make art about this. I was disgusted at the idea. I hated, that's what I was furious, disgustedly furious. But art has saved my life up until this point, and I knew it would again at some point when I was ready. And because Carl was military, we had a funeral here in Pittsburgh, but then we also had another military funeral in DC, and they are just as horrifically beautiful as they are in the movies. They're that bad. And it was the middle of winter. It was just terribly freezing. And I waited. After the Graveside service, I waited for everybody to leave so I could be the last one there. And I could have a moment with him, or minutes, or however long. And after I got up and I walked away, and I realized, but there's never any walking away, but I couldn't stay there forever, and I had to walk away, but there was never walking away. I screamed at his graveside. And my brother, he saw needs that I had not anticipated. And he offered himself over and over again, but consistently through my grief, as my person, my rock, my tree to cling to. He escorted me to events. He was my person at the funerals. And I didn't even think about that. But I was glad that he was wise enough to anticipate that. Oh, thank you. So Everett stayed at my side, held me up, and literally when I screamed at the graveside, he was basically like holding my body off the ground because I had nothing. My whole body gave out. He was basically carrying me. And he was also that person for me in social situations. And I don't know how other people experience grief, but for me, seeing other people, especially people that I knew, those were the hardest people to see. There was my inner circle that knew everything, that saw me good, bad, ugly. And there were strangers that I could talk to. But seeing my communities, my friends, my colleagues, those were the hardest people. And I think it's because they were me. I saw my old self reflected in them, and I was not that person anymore. And they were trying to see me, and I wasn't that person anymore. And there's no way to run into somebody for the first time after something so life-ending without that being the elephant in the room. I was going somewhere. So the scream, that started something, and it wasn't finished. And I don't know if this makes sense. I just know it makes sense for me. But that scream was the start of a scream that I had to get out of my body, or I knew I would never live again. And that's what widow is. I don't literally scream in the play. I thought about it. I didn't know if that would be something that would be in the play, but writing about my story, teaching the audience how to deal with people who are grieving with humor as well, not just tears. But writing widow and performing it was finishing that scream. And writing it almost killed me. And Everett asked me, Joanna, do you need to write this or do you need to perform it? And I said, both. And I put him, consciously or not, I put him as a guard through that writing process as well, that buoy. And he said, if you're not confident that you can come out on the other side, and I said, I am pretty sure that if I can get through writing this, this is the thing that will help me take a step forward. And after I performed it, it was crazy. The scariest thing that I've ever done. The moment before I went out on stage, I knew my story. I was confident in my words. I was confident in telling people. I was confident in what I needed to do. And I delivered it. And for the first time, let's see, and this was last year, so first time in almost 4 years since my husband was killed. I'm cleaning up the stage. I'm taking, because there's, of course, another show coming in because it's the Fringe Festival. Tears are running down my face, and my friends and people are waiting to talk to me. And I could smile and laugh. And I'm cleaning myself up, but I'm laughing and I'm smiling. And I realized that being able to stand on stage and tell the world, this is what happened to me and this is who I am, it broke me open and helped me start moving again in a way that I know nothing else would have.
Your art, your poetry, your performances, what it sounds like, what I'm hearing is they've always been cathartic for you, which metamorphosed and transformed into what you're doing today.
Yeah. And Widow also has poetry in it. It's storytelling, there's poetry, there are kind of talk back with the audience about all of that. And yeah, it was the thing that allowed me to start moving again. And I will never be done grieving, and I never want to be done grieving, but it's the thing that helped me begin to start living again. And the climax of that is taking that show to Carl's and my Scotland. He took me there for the first time. Sorry, when my voice gets choked up, I'm like, I'm fine talking about this, but sometimes my throat has other ideas. Carl took me to Scotland for the first time, so I'm taking this to our Scotland, and he's coming with me.
It's lovely. Lovely thoughts.
Thank you.
Spirituality is a personal connection with something, and I thought, how could we possibly contribute more to people's lives like we're doing on the show? And as a result, I've made the choice to become an ordained minister, and as so, I am legally authorized to perform marriages in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Why choose our services over an established mansion of wood and stone? What we do is we offer a non-religious, spiritual-based, mindfulness-based type of bonding of two souls. We are based in the Pittsburgh area, however, am willing to travel and am open to any type of suggestions that would suit you and yours. Our goal is to make this day as easy as possible for both of you and have no worries. Let us handle the ceremony. Please contact the show for our rates and whatever we can possibly do to make that moment in time special for you and to create memories. So in your current reincarnation,
Yes.
you're connected with a close friend and you both decided to share something special.
Yeah. So one of my best friends, Lauren, she lost her soulmate a month after I lost Carl. And we love each other very, very much. But those first 2 years, because grief is a very personal but also a very selfish experience that one needs to have and needs to have space to grieve. And so we gave each other space for a couple of years because we would have just sucked in the entire world. It would have been a black hole. But then we started talking, and this part, Jim, I know you will appreciate. We decided, and Lauren had a very different experience with grief, and we talk about this. So Lauren came to me and said, I think we need to make a pact that in this next chapter of our lives, whatever is next, that we don't settle for anything less than what we want. And that's the thing, is having your life completely raised. Like, I have no fucks left to give, Jim. So I only wear clothes that I love, even lounge clothes. I'm very picky about. Like, I love everything. Life is too long not to do things that I actually care about. For the longest time, I couldn't care about. But now that I'm like, I guess I'm sticking around, I guess I've got a lot of years ahead of me, I'm not going to settle for anything less than what I want because I've already been through enough. There's too much time to waste to do half-assed and half desired, half wanted. So everything from clothes to relationships to career to, what am I going to do with the garden? What time do I want to wake up? And Lauren experienced her grief very differently. I leaned into mine. I raged. I was not quiet or subtle about it because that was my experience and I wasn't going to hide it. Lauren put hers on a shelf and did the what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. And she realized over 4 years later, oh shit, I never took that off the shelf. So she started talking to me about that. What's valuable, Joanna, about how you went through grief? Tell me why I want to go through my mom's things. Tell me why I want to. So she wanted my perspective on it. And we decided to get a tattoo to commemorate our pact. And we now both have rainbow dung beetles tattooed on our body because they are proportionately the strongest animal on the planet. Female dung beetles are. And fun fact, the female dung beetle also, like, her strength is directly related to her mating habits. She creates tunnels for male dung beetles to come in and fight to the death at a chance to try to find her in the tunnel. And I thought, that sounds like us. That sounds very much in line with who we are. That was just, that was fun. So I came up with our mascot, and then we went and got tattoos. And it was literally as we were checking out, paying for our tattoos, and the artist, if I can call out the artist. Okay, Christiane at Hex Tattoo. She has done several of my pieces. And she's the best. She looked at us and went, I could listen to anything that the two of you talk about. And I looked at Lauren and I said, we need to do a podcast. And by the time we said goodbye outside, like, we paid, went outside, and by the time we were walking to our cars, we had a plan. 2 months later, we did our first and second episode live in front of a studio audience for the Pittsburgh Fringe Festival. And we just recorded our third episode. So the first 2 episodes are out. We released them, we're trying to do one every week. And we recorded our 3rd episode last week, so that should be out any day. And we're talking about life through the lens of what we call big grief. Everyone will experience grief in their life. Not everyone will understand or experience big grief. And while all grief deserves a seat at the table and deserves to be validated and honored, what brought us here was big grief, the kind of life-ending grief. And we're talking about everything with the darkest sense of humor, but also the most brutal honesty, looking at life through that lens.
And the name of the podcast is?
The Grin Reapers Club.
The Grin Reapers.
Grin Reapers Club is in the big smile.
Ah, it's quite an innovative title.
I thought so.
Who came up with that, Joanna?
So I came up with the Grin Reapers, but then we found that there was one podcast by, I think, a couple of Australians doing it about like adventure sports, which is dumb. Like, why that name for that? And Lauren was the one that went, what about the Grin Reapers Club? Boom, perfect. So we're going to get motorcycle jackets because it sounds like we need club jackets.
Absolutely.
For this. Yeah. So I want a motorcycle jacket. I'm not sure if Lauren's going 50s jacket or not, but we're going to have Grin Reapers Club jackets.
And how can a person experience your podcast?
So we have a Facebook page that gives details as they come out, the Grin Reapers Club, but our podcast can be found on Spotify, on Amazon, Audible, and several other podcast things. But you can find those other ones that I haven't memorized yet on our Facebook page. It'll give the details. So we've got 2 episodes out. And first episode, we talk about what brought us there. Second episode, we talk about the very different ways that we approached grief. And a good friend who also runs a podcast in Rochester, New York, he gave me the very wise advice that I talk about in episode 3 of none of this is complete. He said, I want you to think about these subjects as we are visiting this topic because you know you'll be back and you know you can't say everything about it. I was like, thank you for giving me permission. Thank you for giving us grace for ourselves. So we visited those topics in episode 1 and 2 that I'm sure we will come back to. Because we scratched the surface of episode 3's topic and we went in a completely unexpected way, but also really valuable stuff as this happens, you know?
We reinvent ourselves constantly.
Yes.
One of my favorite lines in Alice in Wonderland is when Alice says, I believe it's to the Mad Hatter, she says, I'm not the same person I was this morning. And he says, I certainly hope not.
Yeah. And you can roll with the punches. I did not want to. I kind of waited for my car accident, for my way out, and that didn't happen. And so I finally accepted that I was here for as long as I'm going to be here. And so what am I going to do with the rest of the time I've got here? And I am not the same person.
Carry that message.
Yeah. And I'm glad that when I took Widow to the Rochester, New York Fringe Festival last September, I was approached by 2 different organizations who thought that Widow would be very valuable for grief and trauma clients. And while I wrote Widow for myself, absolutely, it really did annoyingly feel really good that it could help other people. And the fact that I'm able to actually care about other people now is also, I'm glad I am evolving. But I'm excited. I am looking forward to taking the message out, talking about grief, talking about grief being so stigmatized. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Something that is so unavoidable has been so repressed, and I think that's bullshit, and I've staked my life against it.
Well, I think you have a powerful message to carry to others, particularly on that it's acceptable to grieve
Oh yeah.
and to embrace your grief, embrace your pain. Don't try to push it away.
Well, there's no point. There really isn't. If you push it away, I mean, it will come out. It will out somewhere, whether in chronic illness, whether in worse mental health issues. Like, you know this. It will out. And so you can either embrace that. And the thing is, Lauren asked me, why should I do that? And for someone who is grieving, to push that down, your love deserves that honor. So grieve.
I love the way you're talking. What we resist persists.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what's a message that you would like to share with our audience, Joanna?
Oh boy. I can't say I have any. I think that's I think I tripped into my message for those who do repress. Your love deserves more than that. And so embrace the pain, because grief is the other side of love.
Grief is the other side of love.
The only reason you have all of that pain is because you love that person that much.
So, I think we met each other for a reason. That night down at Hambones, when I heard you, I was so impressed, and I thought, I have to meet this person. And I did.
Yes, you did.
And you were kind enough to humor me.
It was a delight to meet you, and thank you. I'm glad. Some people they are allergic to emotion, and Jeff used to joke when I would especially do my angry poem that men would just run in droves out of the room to get a drink because they were like, "Oh, she's so mad and scary and emotive." And I think that's hilarious. I am not afraid of my emotions
So
at
if you
all.
could contact our producer so we can put a link up again to your album, because that was just a beautiful experience.
Thank you so
Beautiful
much.
to listen to.
It would be an honor.
Well,
I will
if you
send
could do
you
that, would be
a link
great.
to the podcast and a link to my album.
So at the end of every podcast, Joanna, what we do, besides offering a big prescription for hope,
Yeah.
is another prescription, and that's fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. Till all are free, none are free. If we're all not the Creator's children, then none of us are. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.